Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for tuning in with WVGS 91.9 The Buzz. You're listening to Manhood Mindset down here at the Real GSU, baby. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. We got a really good show lined up for you all, man. Thank y'all so much for your continued support. Thank you for your comments and concerns and your questions from last week's show. Last week's show, we had True Amir letting y'all know exactly where his passions come from. And he actually is returning, and he's going to be like a frequent guest on Manhood Mindset. So y'all better get used to that. And we're going to end up taking live calls. So we're going to probably start taking live calls next week. And we'll give you that number out to dial in and give you comments, questions, concerns, all of that good stuff, man. So we want to have an interactive dialogue with a lot of our audience members. A lot of people tweet us. A lot of people text me directly. We want you to call in so the audience can actually hear your voice as well, man. So just shout out to everybody who's still grinding, people who out there still persevering through everything they got going on. Thank God for a new day, man. Just thankful just to be breathing, just to be walking and talking and interacting with people. I'm glad to see y'all, brothers. Straight up, man. No lie.
Same here.
Sometimes we just got to just break down and just say something that's real and just positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm pretty sure we all going through something specific, man. But you guess what? We still breathing. It ain't taking us out. You know what I mean? We got good things to look forward to, man. And one thing I realized this week, man, no matter what you're going through, there's a learning objective in any and everything that you got going on. And sometimes, man, we could get so wrapped up in the pain or the violations of it all that we forget to learn what we were supposed to learn in the whole place. And the learning objective was the top priority of all of the pain. So no matter what you're going through, man, just don't forget to learn something. They ain't saying that you ain't supposed to hurt, not saying you ain't supposed to cry, not saying that you're supposed to just be a robot or whatever, man, but do not forfeit your learning experience just because you pissed off. You know what I mean? So, but thank y'all so much again. Just like we said, we got a special guest in the house, man. We're going to let this brother introduce himself, and then we're going to get into this brother's mindset, man, because we're going to help somebody today, man. Who are you, bro?
Hey, what's going on, people? My name is Niko Makaveli.
Real GSU alumni in the building, graduated in December, hailing from the west side of Savannah, Georgia.
And say your name again. Your mic was off the first time. Repeat your first name.
My name is Niko Makaveli.
There you go. We got you. Go ahead again, bro. Go ahead and do your thing.
Hey, what's going on, people? It's Niko Makaveli. Hailing from the west side of Savannah, Georgia, man. Real GSU
Seaport.
alumni in the building. Yes, Seaport.
All right.
Show love 912 stuff, man. And I'm glad to be here with my man's Chris, man. And my boy True. What's going on, True?
What up? Chillin'.
That's what's up, man. So thank you so much, man. I know it was it was almost destined. It was amazing that you contacted me today because everything just fell into place. I would just say that.
Yeah, it really did.
Appreciate you still reaching out to me, man. And we have a working relationship too. Not only just a real, cool relationship between dudes, man, but we actually have a working relationship as artists.
Yeah,
right. So
exactly.
Kind of give people your artistic background. What do you do?
I rap. I pretty much, that's as simple as I could put it. But I like to tell people I put words together in ways that people can understand and visualize a picture that they probably haven't seen before.
Understood.
I like to paint vivid pictures in people's heads, make them think about the stuff that they're really realizing throughout the day and realizing throughout their environment. I want to open their eyes to things that may not be too clear to most people.
Right.
So
Right. Okay. So how did you get into the artistic expression of rap?
It had to come from growing up, in Savannah with my mom and my sisters and my dad, my sister and my dad. And I grew up on a military base, but my dad was always gone, running. And then early in the morning, my mom's cooking dinner. I mean, not dinner, cooking breakfast early in the morning. Making pancakes, eggs, and breakfast, playing Tupac, Biggie, and playing the Ghetto Boys, all that. I grew up with all.
You do
that.
not know nothing about no Ghetto Boys, bro. You do not. You too young, man. Don't go there, bro. Don't
My
bring up
mom
no.
playing tricks on me, man. You better stop, man. Come on, thoroughbred in the game. I promise you.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Bread
Man.
in
So
it,
you
man.
mentioned some of those artists. You talking about Pac, you talking about Big, you talking about Ghetto Boys, man. What artists that you can think of, man, that you identify with the most? Not saying that you emulate them,
Yeah.
but what artists do you mentally connect with the most?
Pac. It had to be Pac because I pay homage through my name.
Got you.
Niko Makaveli, that came from Niccolo Machiavelli, French Renaissance man who wrote The Prince, and that's where Tupac's alter ego Machiavelli came from.
Okay.
And he studied the way that Machiavelli moved. He studied his teachings, everything that he stood for.
Okay.
And I did my own research once I got to college, and I figured that these are two people that were really influencing my life. At the moment, the way that they moved, the way that they talked about things, the stuff that I read about, and it really just shaped me as an artist. And then I had to say, the Southern legends like T.I., Ludacris, Pastor Troy.
All right.
Me being from the Seaport. Shout out to Camouflage, RP Camouflage.
Yeah, man. I did security for Camouflage. People don't know that.
What?
Yeah, man.
That's wild,
we was a matter a long time ago, bro. It was just like early 2000s.
Gone before his time, man.
Early 2000s, man.
Go ahead and do the time
Camouflage
pump.
left.
And that dude right there was, I'm
left
talking
early,
about
man.
extreme
Too
talent,
early.
bro.
Yeah.
Too early,
Extreme,
man.
and it would have done so much for that city just to have Camouflage put on, man. And he was taken too close, man. I mean, too soon.
Yeah.
So, but as far as Machiavelli, you mentioned how Machiavelli moved. You kept saying the word move.
Like,
How did, like, in your interpretation, what do you know about his movements? What did he do?
his, as far as Niccolo Machiavelli goes, he did a lot without being seen. You know,
Yeah.
like he did a lot through his writings. Like me, I want to be able. He struck emotion in a group of people who were oppressed at this time.
Right.
By the prince at the time. I believe it was Cesare Borgia at the time, who was
Okay.
the prince, and he was starving his people, abusing his people.
Wow.
And Niccolo Machiavelli took it upon himself that the one place that he touched people through was through his words.
Right.
So I wanted to be able to do the same thing.
Okay.
Strike emotion through these individuals who I don't even necessarily need to know.
Gotcha.
But strike emotion in these people to do something about their situation. Don't just sit there and take it. There's something to do about it.
Right.
Right. Understand that this is your given situation, but this is also your situation. Think about the word "your." You own it. Make it what it can be. Make it what you want it to be.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. And the one thing that stuck out to me, you said that he moved in silence. He didn't make a lot of announcements about some of the things that he was doing, right?
Yeah.
And I think now, man, if a lot of us understand the art of war, we really need to be
In the same mindset.
we need to be moving, like, and just not with our mouths, man, because I know us, we have a tendency. When I say we, I ain't talking about everybody with the same skin tone. I'm talking about human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Human beings have a tendency to talk before they move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and one thing I had to realize too, man, when you said move in silence, I have to start learning how to play chess, bro. I really do.
just picked it up. Just started picking
And
it up.
I think it's gonna help the mindsets of a lot of people develop, and that's just one aspect of it. But chess is about warfare, and life every day when you wake up and just engage in everyday life, man. It's an aspect of warfare that a lot of people don't get. And just like you're saying how Machiavelli was and how Pac was, and even when I saw All Eyes on Me, the documentary, how he was trying to do things, get things done right before he was taken too early, right?
Yeah.
And people don't understand, Pac had an imprint on this planet at the age of 25.
Yeah. He done more than most people's lifetime at the age of 25.
And I keep thinking, and see, sometimes when I listen to Pac, it sounds like we the same age. But I'm like, no, I'm listening to a 25-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And that really opens my mind. And sometimes,
That
resonates. When it resonates. And so when I see a 25-year-old rapping, I'm gonna be like, nah, man, I respect you, because you know what I'm saying? Because I have no idea what you can, what you can muster up and what some of the things that you can think of, man. So I'm not just gonna write you out because you're young. I will hold you accountable for the stuff you say and the stuff you don't know and you think you know. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So by saying that, what do you think about our artist's responsibility of content? And True, I want to hear your thoughts on this as well. But artists' responsibility and accountability of the content that you share.
The game is based off of truth.
Okay.
That's about as simple as I can put it.
Understood.
And I don't care, who feels what about what I'm about to say, but at the end of the day, if you're not being true with yourself, you can't consider yourself telling the truth.
Correct.
Don't say that you the truth on the mic and nothing that's falling out your mouth is the truth.
Correct.
Tell your story. You being in front of that mic is an opportunity that you need to grasp to tell your story that may strike an emotion in another person to do the same thing.
Understood.
That's a big responsibility.
Understood.
People don't understand that.
Understood. What about you, True? What do you think about artists' accountability and responsibility?
I feel the same way. Like that's where the name True even came from.
Okay.
Because it was when you first my partner, very close friend of mine, a brother of mine, Tavy D.
Big Tavy. I remember Tavy D. Yeah, he was a Mel. Yeah, I remember Tavy D.
Tavy broke it down to me like when you first start doing any form of art, you kind of imitate what motivated you to do it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually you'll develop your own sound. So through imitation, starting out with imitation, you kind of you completely mirror it. So if I'm listening, my main influence to get me to start rapping was Lil Wayne.
Right.
I was a huge Wayne fan I'm talking about early, like lights out Lil Wayne. You know what I mean? So back then he wasn't even cursing, but once he started, talking about the trap and this, that, and the third, like even though I wasn't even of age yet, that's what I'm talking. I'm talking about shooting people and selling dope that I've never seen, this, that, and the third. And again, it comes from imitating at first, and then you develop into your own person.
Right.
Whatever. When I chose the name True, I decided I was gonna flip over a new leaf. Like I wasn't going to exaggerate in my rhymes. I was going to talk about exactly what I've been through, what I've seen, what I've been next to, so on and so forth. Amen. And I feel like anybody in the game, that is a responsibility of yours, like to tell the truth, regardless on what your truth is. I might not agree with your truth. You might be a very violent person. Right. You know what I'm saying? But at the very least, tell the truth.
For the people that's trying to work on that art and they know that truth is inconvenient, how did you all maneuver through the inconvenience that you cause other people by telling your truth? Because I know a lot of times people say, it's the inconvenient truth, right? So when you are speaking the truth, you have to step on people's toes if you're trying to get to where you need to be, because people stick their foot out to trip you up, right? So it's naturally, you're gonna have to crush some ankles, crush some toes, break a couple of bones in people's feet and all of that good stuff, right? So how do you matriculate through that uncomfortable process of being inconvenient for the people who can't stand your truth?
Honestly, I hate this. I hate to put it so bluntly.
Man, don't hate. Just don't cuss.
And I'm not. I hate to put it so.
I like how some people, I hate to say it, this big Chris, man. Like, we talked about this.
Oh no.
Drop it. I just play. Go ahead, bro.
Radio savvy. You know
Go
what I'm
ahead.
saying?
Go ahead.
But nah. Run me back that question one more time so I can really understand.
So basically, a portion of artistry is about standing for some type of truth. Not only you stand for that truth, but you communicate that truth and stand behind that truth, right? So if the truth is indeed inconvenient, right? Yeah, how do you maneuver through that uncomfortableness of stepping on other people's toes because your truth is not convenient for them? So when people come up to you and be like, man, no, you don't need to rap like this, or you don't need to talk about this, or you don't need to release your CD right now, or you don't need to rap there because that'll ruin your prestige, or what, you got all these people who are not necessarily understanding what your truth is. You may know, but it's really stepping on other people's toes. I'm gonna give you an example. If you try to do what's best for you, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it before, when y'all are living in your truth and really flourishing your artistic expression, the people that are for you may not know how to support you. Because what you're doing is either highlighting what they can't do, highlighting what they don't understand, or highlighting what's actually bothering them. You see what I'm saying? So how do you maneuver through that uncomfortable ordeal?
I try to express to people how uncomfortable it is for me.
Okay.
I try to get them to relate. it's uncomfortable for you to hear it, but imagine me having to say it.
Have to live through it.
Live through it.
Because the truth has to be a lived experience most of the time,
but
right?
But let me put y'all in this mind state. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's pain, like if a person only experienced pain, the only way I'm able to get this off my chest is to explain to you,
right,
what's going on,
right?
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta make you feel it,
right?
Because at the end of the day, I feel it,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put you on a steady, you know, on a level where we both can have an understanding.
True that.
You know?
True that.
I have to make it relatable. I'll make it relatable. I'll bring certain scenarios that I've been through that I know almost everybody in the world has been through in their life at least one time.
Right.
But I'll express to them exactly how it shaped me or did something to me or whatever it did at that time. I try to make it, I paint my picture for them, but I make it relatable and make it easier for their eyes to see.
Understood.
You know what I'm saying?
Understood. So you maneuver through that uncomfortable ordeal by connecting them to the information.
Yeah.
Not necessarily soliciting their support.
Yeah. No.
You just help them understand it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I don't expect everybody to like my music.
Got you.
I don't.
Got you.
There's no way that as an artist you can freely move and express yourself worried about what people want to hear.
Right. And think about, and we were talking about selling of the soul last week. That's the reason why I want you to come into this whole ordeal about what is truth and what is the truth, right?
Yeah.
Because some people may come up to you, or an artist that's listening to us right now is saying, yeah, man, but that's a little bit too real, right? Or they're going to come up to you and say that's not marketable, right? Because a lot of artists, they also want to eat too, right? So now that whole dilemma between not only the people that support you or the people who want to support you financially, but they don't believe in your truth. They want you to go out there and sing and dance like the rest of them folks, man. How did you maneuver?
I use, from what you just said, a thought struck in my mind with YG with his first album. He wanted to name it Bumpton, but the label told him that it's only targeting a certain demographic,
right?
And that if he wanted to be more successful, the album should not be named Bumpton. So he changed it to My Crazy Lifestyle, My Crazy Life, with, you know, the K, the C is a K because he a blood, whatever.
Right.
So it still had an essence of him, but it was still a little bit more broad. You know what I mean? So in certain situations as an artist, when it comes to, like you said about marketing, you got to make those kind of decisions and bend a little bit. You can't just completely be, well, I'm a hard body and I'm not going to budge on what nobody has to say about anything at all. You know what I mean? I know last week I said that I do what I want to do, and that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? But I also did say that I will listen to some advice. It's just at the end of the day, I'm going to put the stamp on that and decide, am I going to go with this? Am I going to bend a little bit, or am I not? And in that case, at that point, that's when you follow your gut with what you want to do. But I don't feel like you should go into every situation like what I say is the law, and that's that. You know what I mean? Describe
the mindset of the balance between the business mindset and the artist mindset.
Business is BS. like keeping it all the way G.
Because a lot of people, they know artistic expression. A lot of people see it as a lucrative business. But some people, tell a person the other day, I did an interview with a good friend of mine, Georgia Southern alumni, Jameson Smallwood. He just came down here. We did an interview over the weekend, and he was just like, "What's the reason why you do comedy? And you know, what about your comedy career?" And I was just like, "Well, comedy is a lifeline. It's not necessarily a career. You know what I'm saying?" And I know based off how I included comedy in my life, I didn't have a business mindset because it was more of a survival tool. You know what I'm saying? I did it to maneuver. I did it to eat. I did it to cope. I did it to survive, really. And I did it to, you know, if I wanted to give back and make other people's lives better around me, if I made the people around me lives a little bit better, my life, it improved. So I was doing it as, hey, I'm going to lift my folks. I'm going to lift myself up. I know how to diffuse situations. I know, man, comedy, people don't understand the power of conflict management behind comedy. People underestimate it, man. I have literally, and this is not to toot no horn or nothing like that, I have dissolved many extreme conflicts by the joke at the right time.
I can see that.
I'm telling you, it was a joke at the right time. somebody put their gun right back up, like, boy, you a fool. I like, no, I'm pretty smart. Pretty smart, man, because it looked like you were finna turn up on us a little bit, man. But, you know, people take things the wrong way, but they're right joke at the right time, and a lot of people don't understand, because I studied comedy, and I studied art of laughter and what it does to your emotions and the endorphins in the brain, and I told a class this morning. You ever walk by a room and people bust out laughing? What makes you want to stop and wonder what's going on? Because laughter causes your brain to pay attention, right? And so laughter, it ignites your critical thinking process, whether you want it to or not, because you start wondering what in the world is going on.
I used to get in trouble for that in high school.
Heck yeah.
Because
All the time.
my go-to, if a teacher or somebody pissed me off, like, I would just smile and smirk about it.
Right.
And they take it as you being,
that's
sarcastic
the
or being
worst thing you
disrespectful
do.
or this, that, and the third. And it's like, really, I'm blessing you from this pressure that I could be applying
Straight
right
up.
now.
What?
Like,
Straight up.
like, that's what's
Straight
really
up.
going on. Like, but you don't understand that. You don't comprehend that. But
Right.
but like, I mean, on a real serious tip, like, you could be in a situation where you might be depressed. You might be so angry that you see red or you black out or whatever. Like, and just smiling in general can change the entire thought process.
Bruh.
You know what I mean?
Pressure. It relieves all types of pressure.
And that goes to my point, because the business mindset was not my priority.
Yeah.
The money didn't matter, because I couldn't spend the money if everybody around me was dead or depressed. I couldn't spend the money if I was always in conflict. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess my top priority was minimizing the conflict. So how did you all balance? As soon as you got introduced to the business aspect of your artistic expression, what challenges of balance did you encounter, and how did you deal with it?
I'm gonna say the issue that I had was staying motivated.
Okay.
And motivation is a big thing. I wake up every morning trying to find something to motivate me to get through the day, and whether it be money, whether it be getting through the next day or learning something, whatever, I'm gonna find something to motivate me to get through this in the next day. So I believe, man, like I challenged myself all the time. I would listen to all the rappers on the radio and just listen to how they, how much clout they got, what they're doing. And it's just like, I don't even want the clout. I just want the recognition.
Right.
Every day, I know I'm probably harder than this dude that's on the radio right now. Let me go ahead and, sit down and write this 16 real quick over this beat, lay it down, spit it for my partners, and go ahead and lay it down on track.
Straight up.
Like, at the end of the day, I'm motivated to keep on going and keep doing this stuff. So the more artists that are out there right now, that's the more I listen to. That's why I'm so deep into listening to everybody's music and paying attention to the game that I'm trying to be in. Because what's the point of you saying that you want to be part of this game, but you're not paying attention to what's moving and happening in it? Straight
up.
Like, I need to know what this dude's doing right now. So if I jump in the game at this moment, I know where to go.
That's correct.
I know what to do.
That is correct. What about you, True?
I'm kind of the opposite sometimes.
Got you.
And I only say that not to say that he's going about anything or wrong or right way. That's how he chooses to move, and I choose to move. Well, you do kind of gotta. It's like playing football.
Right.
You gotta watch the tape. You know what I'm saying? Like, to see what that team that you about to go up against is capable of. You got to watch their tapes to develop your defensive plan, your offensive plan, whatever. But at the same time, with me musically, like, especially tagging on to what I said last week, I'm kind of just focused on, I'm doing my own thing. When I'm in project mode, and I know a lot of artists can relate to this, when I'm in project mode, I don't listen to nobody.
Right.
I don't want to listen to anybody. I don't want any kind of outside influences subconsciously or nothing like that involved in what I'm doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and even when I'm not in project mode and I'm still staying motivated to create, I kind of, if I listen to anything, it'll be something that's on the whole another end of a spectrum from what I would do. I'm not gonna do what Future does.
All right.
I know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even move in that lane, so I could listen to Future all day and not worry about Future influencing me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. I think as a comedian sometimes, because it's hard to study the art and not have the art become a part of you. But just because something become a part of you don't mean you lose yourself in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of artists may come to a crossroads with that, because, man, I study Paul Mooney. You know what I'm saying? I literally study him like it's a class, man, straight up. And just his delivery, the content is what I study the most. The things he actually talks about. He's more political than he is comical. but the way he talks about politics is some of the most brilliant comedy I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor was like that. Richard Pryor come out there and talk about some of the most horrendous stuff in the world, but your stomach could be hurting because you're laughing at something you ain't supposed to be laughing at.
Eddie Griffin.
Eddie Griffin is like that, man. I mean, and just think about it, man. Looking at Dave Chappelle's recent work, bro. I think Dave Chappelle might be an X-Man. Like, I think you ever seen somebody who was just like, all right, man, you floating in midair like Magneto now. Like, you done reached a level now. I saw on his last special, he was just like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm at a point where I know I'm gonna do great.
Yeah.
Like, and I was just, and you know, as an artist, man, when I saw that, I paused it, and I was just like, I think that's called a finish line, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's like, and it's not. He said, no, I'm not even being arrogant. I'm not even trying to be rude. I just know I'm gonna do well. I just hope y'all have a good time. I'm really finna mash y'all with this, you know. And I think, and a lot of people don't understand. When I paused it, I said, I think he just defined what fun means.
Yeah. Because
when people say they're having fun, but they're concerned with the thought process of other people, I don't think that's fun, man. I think that's and I'm not saying that it's bad, but you're consumed with the thoughts of other people masquerading as fun.
Yeah.
That's when people get stressed out. They start leaning on different crutches and stuff like that and start compromising themselves, man. But it got to the point where he was just like, nah, I'm going to do pretty well. And some of this stuff is really going to irk some of you guys in the audience. But I've already been paid. So let's go ahead and get this started. Like, you know what I mean? So that makes me a fan of the art, man. And when I listen to hip hop, man, like, I'm not necessarily I don't consider myself a hip hop head. I'm a student of hip hop. I appreciate hip hop and I utilize hip hop. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean. As a student, man, I like looking up lyrics, and I like to read lyrics and then go back and listen to the song again. I get better enjoyment out of the song.
Yeah,
it sticks with me. For some strange reason, when I read, I can imagine things, and then when I hear it with the beats enter the brain, help the lyrics enter the brain quicker. And they stay there longer. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's the reason why I became a Dungeon Family fan so much, because Outkast and Goody Mob put their lyrics in their CDs.
Yeah.
And those were the first artists that I had that had their lyrics in their CDs. So when I was reading as I was listening, the words stuck out. Like, I mean, they became law.
Yeah.
Really. Just being real.
It was scripture.
It was scripture. It was scripture. It just changed the way I was living my life a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. So as far as the artistic expression, man, I think we're all just growing. I think we're all not necessarily trying to figure out, but you know, just like we don't know what the day holds. I think as an artist, I think being part of being an artist, you got to just be ready, and be ready for fill in the blank. You know what I mean? And I think one of the things we got to be ready is to grow at the drop of a hat. Yeah. Ready to grow, like instantaneous, spontaneous, and inconvenient growth too. Because I think sometimes when we're forced to grow and we think it's hate, or we think it's barriers, or we think it's mistreatment, man, I think that's the necessary growth that's irritating. Yeah, that's uncomfortable, man. So shout out to all the artists out there. We talk about a lot of different things on the show, though. You know,
man, I already know it.
But while we talking about your artistic expression, I don't want to forget to make sure we promote both of y'all, right? Oh, yeah. So before we go to our next question, a series of questions, how can people follow you? And if they want to purchase your music, how can they do that? And I want both of y'all to go. So
go ahead, True, man. Hit them with it, man.
Well, following me right now, mainly social media. I used to have my own site. We're gonna revamp that and get that back up. Gotcha. It was True Hayes at the time that my name was True Hayes, but we're gonna revamp that, get that back up. But Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. The Snapchat still is True Hayes, TruuHayze. Everything else, like I said, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TruuAmir, True Emil. As far as purchasing, matter of fact, Niko here is, linking everything for me, so that we just had a conversation like a week ago. Yeah. Where getting everything lined up so I can get on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, and all that. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be dropping a project for sure this year. I'm settling on this summer. That's what I'm shooting for. It's not promised, but we're trying to get something out this summer. That way, and there might be a little surprise, something coming too. Right. You know what I'm saying? That way I can get out there and start networking get the people that been waiting for a long time some music out there.
Streets need it.
That's
boy.
real, man. So, Niko,
Man,
what you working on? How can we follow you? How can we support and purchase or solicit your music?
I'm gonna go ahead and get the boring stuff out the way, man. Go ahead and y'all follow me at Niko Makaveli, at the real Niko Makaveli on Instagram. You can follow me at Niko Makaveli on Facebook, and on Twitter it's Makaveli_music. Snapchat Niko_Makaveli, all lowercase. And you can find me on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon.
Dang.
Anywhere that you download your music, you can find me. Search up. Matter of fact, you can find me on YouTube. You can find my latest project, No Rest for the Weary, on SoundCloud. You can find me on YouTube. My album Took a Minute is out there on there. My single Throne that's on my EP No Rest for the Weary is on there. Y'all just go ahead and search the boy up, man, and be ready for another project dropping soon. Y'all go listen to No Rest for the Weary on SoundCloud. That's my recent project if you want to know where I'm headed.
That's real. That's real.
Niko just said something that struck something.
What's up?
In this day and age now, in the day and age that we live in, you could get away with it in like 07, 08, but you cannot get away with it now. You gotta have visuals. Woo. And you gotta have good visuals. Yeah. It cannot look like your homeboy got a flip screen or flip phone camera. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Even
that's what we're struggling with visuals in here, right?
Snippets that you putting on.
We gonna get this right. Yeah. Next Monday, I promise you. Next Monday we gonna be right.
I got a contact, man. He was willing to help us out too.
Yeah.
With some cameras and stuff. Yeah.
But visuals, man, you gotta have visuals, man. Like, and they gotta be crisp. They gotta be good. They gotta be creative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that was one of the main reasons that I decided to sit back and revamp everything. Like, and when I put a project out, whatever this next project is, I'm trying to structure it to where the stage that I'm in with writing is, if I can't see a video for that song, I pretty much scratch that song. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So
you in that's productive.
Yeah. That's my next project is every single song on it is gonna have a video.
That's real.
That's real.
That's real, bro. That's real. All right, so I've had a couple of conversations about our show in the last week or so, but it was a lot of conversations over the break too. Yeah. A lot of, well, I'm not a lot, you know what I'm saying? Not people exaggerate, but a few young ladies that have listened to the show before and caught it on, you know, like SoundCloud and YouTube and stuff like that. They were saying that they would like to know our thoughts on relationships between men and women a little bit more when we're talking in the studio, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. And a lot of women are interested in how men think, even though, you know, if you look at social media and look at a whole bunch of different TV shows, it looks contrary to that. But, you know, but there is a large amount of women who are actually interested in what men have to say. Right. So she was like, you know, when it comes to women, we love to hear men talk about women, and, you know, of course, in a positive light. But she was like, you know, I kind of want to know how y'all really think about certain situations. And I was like, okay, all right. You know, I ain't gonna promise you they're gonna happen though. But, you know, so I at least, you know, bring it up. But after she texted me today, she was like, you gonna talk about it? I was like, let's see what happened. Right. So one of her questions were, how do we see the relationships between men and women? How do we see them? Are they changing? Are they constant? What's the constant state of relationships between men and women right now?
With the sauce,
man, she really did, bro. And I was just like, you want dudes? She was like, you know, because we've had men and women on the show. You know, it's manhood mindset, but, you know, we want to make sure that women can benefit from how we think as well, because some women are actually interested. And one thing she did say to me, and she was like, she's like, you'd be surprised how many women are yearning for the man's logical viewpoint on certain things. Like, some of us didn't have brothers, some of us didn't have fathers, some of us never had a real relationship where we had a man that actually taught us how men think. She was like, so when we listen to your show, we kind of want to hear some real thought processes that y'all have. And she was like, a lot of women can benefit from manhood mindset. So I was like, you know what? Thank you for telling me. You know what I mean? So, you know, let's talk to the ladies for a second if they're listening.
For one thing, I'm going to say, well, what you just said about a lot of us not having fathers or male role models. The daddy issue thing is a common thing to be said about women, especially promiscuous women, right?
Right.
dudes got daddy issues too.
Extreme.
Thank you. That's not a gender.
No, daddy issues.
Dudes definitely have daddy issues.
Right.
That's not a gender specific thing.
No,
That happens on both
it's
sides.
a child specific.
Yeah.
Like it's a family dynamic, man, and we gotta understand like a lot of things happen to ensure that men are outside of the household and sometimes out of your life. It depends, man. And some of the things I saw today, school to prison pipeline is alive and well. It's alive and well. And man, if they are building jails based off your kindergarten and first and second grade test scores or how they write up the kids, disciplinary issues and things of that nature, they run that data, man, and that's how they figure out how many jails they're gonna build, bruh. That's actually that's an actual that's a reality. So a lot of people may not understand when they see that little kid being ostracized in school and written up and kicked out eventually, and then forced to correctional facilities or alternative schools.
Yeah,
that's what that school to prison pipeline is. And guess what? That's somebody's future father. And when we see it as a kid, we just see it as a kid. But hey, he keeps growing up, man. He might have the ability to be someone's brother, somebody's father, somebody's uncle, somebody's individual who can give them a version of manhood that could benefit them, right?
Yeah.
So for all the women who are out there who would like to benefit from the mindset of men, what would you say to them? They want to benefit from it. Like, say, for instance, they didn't have any men in their life or any men that they can really count on for telling them the truth. They might, and put like this, just because you had your father in your life doesn't mean he kept it real with you.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You see what I'm saying? So you might have been daddy's girl, but every time you wanted to talk about something real, daddy was like, no, man, just stay away from everybody. You good. You know what I'm saying? But she wants to learn. She wants to see what men actually think. So what would you say to him? A young lady who may be yearning for understanding how men think.
Be willing to learn.
Okay.
Be very open-minded because if you don't understand this, it's going to be something new to you.
Correct.
So don't think that you know.
Correct.
Please don't go into any conversation with any man.
And that's what a lot of, and I had to tell her, I said, I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of dudes don't talk to y'all because y'all don't listen. A large amount of y'all do not listen. That's why dudes don't talk.
Vice versa.
That's vice versa.
We don't be trying to hear it.
But I'm gonna tell you some realness though, because she was asking me, right? She was like, "Why dudes don't want to talk to us about because y'all actually, some of y'all may not care about what we want." It's a huge possibility some of y'all may not care about what a dude wants.
As much as y'all think, we are not emotionless creatures. We are not. We don't just think.
But that's a fact, though. I feel like it's a big disconnect between both sexes, both genders, because it's you can talk with your homegirls and y'all agree upon X, Y, and Z, and dudes are so stupid, and all dudes do this, and all dudes come at you this way, and we do the same thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, matter of fact, I was watching Martin yesterday. Right. Classic shit.
I watch more like game film, bro. I
swear. I was watching Martin yesterday, right? And it was the episode where Gina was she had got a job offer in New York, and her and Martin wasn't married yet.
Right.
But she was pushing for the marriage thing, right?
Right.
So Pam was like she asked Pam, she was like, why are dudes so afraid of commitment? And Pam made a joke. She was like, because they know it's 2 billion other women out there that don't want them anyway, right?
Wow.
So then you fast forward the show, right? Fast forward the show like 10 minutes.
That's deep.
Cole, Tommy, and Martin are all having the same conversation in the living room.
Right.
And Martin says the same thing, like, why women always trying to chokehold a brother, blah, 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 blah. So Cole says, because they know it's 2 million women out there that just be wanting you. Like,
but Cole was the smart idiot of the world, though.
Right? So it's these two different perspectives.
Yeah,
and
man.
It's just this disconnect that's just been there since the beginning of the time. But
right.
like I say all that to lead into we both have to be willing to learn from the other person. Just like Niko said, you got to be open for communication. You got to just be raw with the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know I'm a guy. I can't speak for most guys, but I'm a guy that I have a lot of female friends, more so than guy friends. You know what I'm saying? So for the same reason that the women that have a lot of dudes as friends because they feel like women are messy as homies or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what they actually say. That's not even a conjecture. That women say that.
Yeah, women say that.
I don't hang around women because they catty and messy.
Dudes
and all
act
that
the
stuff.
same way,
and a lot of dudes get their space because you be like, "Hey man, I think Buddy want to fight me, but he ain't said nothing."
Yeah, dudes act these same ways. Dudes be jealous on the low. They be petty on the low.
Yeah, straight up.
We not even gonna get into how I can't stand them type of traits in a man. Cause you know why I say it.
Hey man,
I can't stand no type of traits in anybody.
Hey.
But I say too,
y'all don't know.
my female, like the friends, the women that I have as friends that are like very close friends, I view them as like sisters. You know what I'm saying? They'll say to me that having a very close male friend to where it's like I get them the raw truth because I'm not trying to pursue them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what truth come out with the
I need you to understand.
Yeah.
What this is.
So and it's the same thing vice versa. I learned a lot of things about women through them because neither one of us are trying to pursue each other. So it's like when we hold conversations about the dude that you actually are pursuing, or we hold conversations about the chick that I'm actually pursuing, you know what I'm saying? Those conversations are unfiltered.
Yeah. Hey man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I know this is gonna sound wrong, but I got a lot of information from pimps and lesbians.
Oh, that's a fact.
I'm sorry. I know people listening
look,
like,
you
how
gonna
dare
listen.
you? I'm like, hey, look.
Come on, man.
Truth, hey, facts is facts. Truth is truth. You don't have to have a specific occupation to keep it real with people. It has nothing to do with your job title or your identity. When they keep it real with you, they keep it real with you, man.
The one type of person.
I'm for real, man. I had me a nice, lengthy conversation with a room full of lesbians one night, and I was just like, "Let me get a pen. Excuse me for a second. Let me go and get." She's like, "No, take your time. We got hors d'oeuvres." And
I mean,
that's
at
when
the
I
end of the
stayed.
day, you got to be able to soak up game from anybody.
Everybody got game.
Because at the end, you don't know nothing. You gotta walk around here like you don't understand stuff sometimes, so you can grasp an understanding.
You gotta be open to receive that
If you can grasp
information.
an understanding of something, whether it be
I
the
just
most minute
recently,
thing.
I ain't gonna put the person out there, but I recently had a conversation. Like it was this post, right, about it was a sexual post. I'm not gonna go into details because we on Georgia Southern Radio, but it was a post about straight men with straight women and how straight men are doing X, Y, and Z wrong, or the majority of them do this horribly. We can all tell through context what I'm kind of talking about.
Are you talking about love making?
Yeah, but
okay.
Along them lines.
along them lines, but
Okay, it's something else.
but anyways, straight men not being able to do this, but lesbian women do this better.
Oh, kind of lingus.
Yeah, there we go. So I was trying to think of that word, the C word, but I didn't want to go with that word because I didn't know if we could go with the other one.
But dancing with the mouth.
There we go. Right? So I'm reading the comments, right? Because the post went viral. So I'm reading the comments, right? And it's all these women just dogging straight men.
Of course.
Right?
That's the sport now. You know, that's right up there with table tennis. That's a sport now. You ain't.
So listen.
My homegirl made the playoffs every year.
So there's a girl in there. I don't know if she was straight or not. There was a girl in there. She had a comment that got a lot of likes that was like, women and bisexual women or lesbian women should give straight men tips. Now most men would get offended, like, I don't need no tips from no woman on how to deal with a woman, blah blah blah. But I sat back and I looked at that and I reflected on it, and I hit my homegirl up and I was like, yo, this is where I got that from.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted advice on X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever, because I was, again, open for that understanding. And I've learned, coming to Georgia Southern was where I met I started moving in different crowds than I would have back home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I met a lot of people that didn't come from the same walk of life that I came from. You know what I mean? And being a part of those people, being a part of those groups with those kind of people, you know what I'm saying? From whether they was artsy, whether they were a musician or a basketball player or whatever the case may be, it was well meshed crowds.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And being around different people like that, I've learned a lot about the opposite sex because a lot of those groups were majority women.
Correct. Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta be open to. Matter of fact, my homeboy Chris Williams, you know Chris, he had a post recently where he was talking about men. It was something about masculinity. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember him saying men have a problem with feeling like they don't know something, because if you don't know something, it's like an attack at your masculinity or your ego.
Knowledge-based manhood, basically.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't got it. You don't know everything, dog, and you don't have to act like you know everything, and you can learn things from people that you might have thought you couldn't. Cat Williams had a joke, and I'm trying to stay on subject without rambling, but Cat Williams had a joke. I forgot what special it was. It was one of his older ones where he was like, sometimes you look at somebody and you feel like there's nothing I can learn from this individual.
That is true.
And he made the joke about Flavor Flav. He was like, you look at Flavor Flav with this big clock hanging from his neck, and there's nothing that I can learn from this guy. like nothing at all. But then when he went into the bit of the joke, it's like he did learn something. Yeah. And he learned how to control his anger.
I used to feel like that about fat doctors. But man, like, I'm serious. That wasn't even a joke. Like my childhood doctor was fat and he smelled like cigarettes. So I was just like,
you all kind of unhealthy.
And no, I'm looking at my mom like, let me see the insurance card. Like, do you love me? Like, you don't smell this Newport? You smell like squares, mama. I mean, he breathes hard. He breathes hard in here telling me about pressure. And it looks like he may be under it. Like that's what I just asked, and now he used to come in and tell me all day. I mean, he used to say some wild stuff, and it'd be good information, but I could just be like, man, your coat dirty. Your coat dirty, and you're breathing hard, and you smell like smoke. But you're telling me to lay off the chips.
But at the same time, he would know best.
He was right.
He would know best.
Right. And think about this.
He's going through it right now.
And I ain't gonna lie to you, man. When I go to the doctor, there's a lot of overweight nurses. They can get to your vein quicker than anybody on the planet. Right. I don't know if you got small. I ain't gonna lie to you, baby. Do not go and get your blood drawn unless your nurse.
I say it like this: if a crackhead tell me not to do crack,
boy. Hey, speaking from experience,
I'ma listen.
Yes. I'm gonna pay attention to that.
Yes.
But gold.
It's gold.
Like, you might not be following your own advice, but I'm pretty sure you know what you're talking about.
Straight up, man. Straight up.
You been through it. You're a connoisseur.
And let's just be honest, man. We could tell somebody what to do. That don't mean we do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could tell you not to sign a predatory contract. It don't mean I've ever been in the room to sign no big contract. Yeah. But I can just tell you, hey, man, you might want to read it because they may have a clause in there where they can own your grandma. Like, and you don't want to be like, look, ma, I got a CD. What's wrong with Big Mama? Why she in handcuffs? Did you read the contract, baby? Like, I told you to read. I told you to read.
You stretch your grandma.
You've been like this since '98. And grandma must tell you the year you were stupid. You've been like this since '01. It's true. It's true. All right,
grandma's got a way of insulting you without insulting. They just make you feel so small in such a nice way. Like, your head ain't good for nothing but a hat rack.
Yes. yes. Or that warnings, man, because I used to go to my grandma's house and she was like, that cake is for the entire family now. I'm like, yeah, huh? And I was at the table on my fourth slice and I was like, that's what she meant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what she meant.
They so subtle, but like,
yeah, she's like, that's for the whole family. It's children in the family. Yeah, they like cake. I'd be like, yeah, I don't know why you telling me this. I'm just sitting there eating cake. She's like, yeah, when I go to the bathroom, it just be crumbs everywhere. It's just like that, man. But seriously though, when it comes to women, man, what are some things that men need to improve on? As you can see, you just talked about how some of us are petty. Some of us actually have the same attributes that a lot of the women that are getting complained about in society have, right? Yep. So you have a lot of dudes that's going around acting certain types of way, disrespecting women, disrespecting themselves, and calling themselves men and things of that nature. So what are some things that we can improve on with the accountability of manhood in our society? What could we be doing better individually and as a whole?
Men just you got to understand what position you're placing yourself in. Understand what it comes with. Don't fall into the games. Okay. Don't play the games. Mm-hmm. Don't let yourself be led down a road that you didn't embark on.
Correct.
Don't get tricked off these streets, cuz.
I'm telling you, man, stick to what you know. And that does not mean if you know beating women to stick to what you know.
Yeah, man. No.
Stick to what you know. Half of y'all out here with common sense.
Right. Half.
And I say that strongly when I say half of y'all are out here with common sense.
We honestly have to admit how dumb a lot of people are, though.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily saying I'm
more
smarter
dumb
than
people
people
in college than I have in the world.
And I'm telling you, you got, when somebody say I have a degree, you got to ask a degree of what. And to what degree are very, efficient and being the biggest dummy?
What's the degree when you didn't actually choose a major?
As a general studies?
Yeah.
Well, look, let's not dog everybody.
I know, right?
I'm sitting in this room right now. I'm sitting in this room right now with a general studies degree.
You got a general studies?
I got a general studies degree my major was communications, but I'm on in psychology.
Yeah, man.
Damn, don't come after everybody.
My bad.
hey, put it like this, man. Don't feel bad. I was an exercise science major. I hate exercise and science.
I just asked the question. I wasn't throwing shade. I just asked the question.
Man, look,
but put it like this, man. He like, don't get me wrong, man. I think all of us was on this journey in college, man, finding out exactly what the truth was.
Yeah.
A lot of us was told something about these majors that was really a crock of you.
Some people come to college and you figure out college ain't for you.
Man, and I ain't gonna lie to you. You come to college and you figure out a lot of people have been lied to about college.
Yeah.
When
you come to college. All that is the saddest thing I've seen is when people come to college just to get away from the life that they used to live.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, I've seen that.
That's the saddest thing I've ever seen.
I used to go to a
lot of the times that don't pan out.
It showed. I had a lot of dudes that was down here that dude with no books, but he had a book bag on.
Yeah,
but with no books.
No books.
Yeah, but he in the union all day. Yeah, and see, back in the day when I was at Georgia Southern undergrad, we had a pool hall, man, and that was the that was the trap. I don't care. It had nothing to do with selling dope. It was the trap, because when you go in there, and I was in that thing all day, getting rent paid, man. They had they had a snack machine in there, pool tables. Then they put in some Xbox and PlayStations, and then they had the nerve to have TVs in there. It was nothing but Outkast and Good Mob playing the whole time, bro. I was like, yeah, psychology can wait.
Random college fact: me and my partner paid rent playing beer pong one time.
Heck yeah,
that happened one time.
Heck yeah.
Oh, we used to play. Man, look, I tell some Georgia Southern stories over here too.
Yeah, man.
Look, EIP.
But going back to your original question about what men need to improve on, man, like cognitive dissonance. Yeah.
Explain what that is, because we got a fourth grader like cussed, I think.
Cognitive dissonance, man, like just Big Chris, they cracked this up.
My bad.
But cognitive dissonance, man, is when you understand something, you know something is wrong, but you don't want to fully acknowledge it, so you don't have to hold yourself accountable for what that is. One thing that I can speak on it before I go back to the point that I know everybody, just to generalize that I know everybody can be able to connect to this in one way or another, is when it comes to racism. If I'm a person who is racist and I acknowledge that, what he said to that boy was wrong, right? But I know that I act in those kind of ways and sometimes whatever, so I don't speak up, so that I don't have to hold myself accountable for things I've done in the past or may do in the future, and create excuses for, well, it was okay when I did X, Y, and Z, but it's not okay for them to do X, Y, and Z. That was wrong. That's cognitive dissonance, more or less. I kind of explained it very, roughly, but more or less. But anyways, when it comes,
I like to call it strategic amnesia.
Yeah. You feel that guilty about it, you try to make yourself forget.
Yes, bro. Yes.
And so when it comes to women, like, one thing that I noticed that helped me start holding myself accountable for certain actions when it comes to disrespecting them or not listening and not fully hearing out what it is that their grievances are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Once I started defending women in public, if I seen something wrong and I spoke up, because a lot of people don't do that. You'll see somebody hit a woman, and you won't speak up because we navigate the world with this mentality of that's none of my business.
Right.
But as far as I'm concerned, is if you seen somebody spike a woman's drink, and you didn't say nothing, and he raped her, you raped her too.
You complicit in that, bro. You complicit in that. Especially if you didn't say nothing, you down with the setup.
Okay.
Yeah,
you down
that's
with the
a fact.
Setup,
it ain't had nothing to do with you. You didn't know them, but they was at the same party and you witnessed it and you said nothing. You are a part of that problem at that point.
And some things you think it's not your business, but as soon as it's your business, it is your business.
Exactly.
Soon as you know about
Exactly.
it, bro, like it's just wild, man. I think a lot of us need to understand, man, that people are the first government. Period. When people say government, we're not necessarily people who work and get paid to who have access to a government building. You know what I mean? People are the government. So when we actually are complicit and when somebody's going somewhere and getting mistreated, and we just sit there and be like, I'm straight, that is the lack of government. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have a government. You know what I'm saying? When it gets to that point,
You got to think about the society we live in. We live in a society of me,
okay,
society of eyes, but not the ones that people look with.
right.
You know?
Right.
Yo.
Everybody wants to be
That
about
ego-driven
them.
eye.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
wants to be about themselves. They worried about themselves, worried about how they move. They don't, they don't look at the next person and see how what they're doing can affect them.
Correct.
And then people absent-mindedly move through life.
Yeah.
Not even thinking about the stuff that they do and how their actions, affect those around them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So we coming to the end of our show, man. I know we've been on since around like 10 after, man. It's 10 after 9. So we want to make sure that, we help some people. We want to get into the mindset of our guests. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that people know you, know what you're doing, how to support you. We also want to know how you respond to different, I would say, categories and different topics too. Because you want to know how you think. And sometimes you become a fan of a person when you find out how they think.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we try to share weekly on each show. Try to, express our thought process to people. And we try to engage in conversation to kind of show people how to engage in conversation with other people. Because at the end of the day, I find out a lot of people do not know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
We have a younger generation that may be listening. So every week we ask our guests to talk to that young man or that young woman who may be listening to the show. And it can be any young man or young woman you can think about. But to get it more specific, this young person is trying to find themselves. They're trying to find their purpose in life. A lot of the things that they're good at, the people that quote unquote love them have told them to forget it.
Yeah.
Some of their best friends don't know how to support them. They call their rude comments and their sly comments support.
Yeah.
And man, honestly, they're just trying to find their identity, man. What would you say to that young person?
I would stress for them to, love yourself, figure out yourself, figure out what your strengths are, and run with that. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, everybody's going to have their opinions. Everybody's going to have their, perception of you. But don't nothing matter if you don't have a positive perception of yourself. You got to keep everything real with yourself and love yourself. That's going to make everything that you do more worth it. That's key.
That's
love
real.
what you do.
Just love what you do. True. What would you say to that person, that young person?
Sometimes people are afraid. People want you to be afraid of chasing your dreams because they was afraid of chasing theirs.
Ooh, okay.
You know what I mean? So, like I said last week, and like I'm gonna say every single week, man, just be you. Don't be afraid to be you and love you. Nobody is gonna love you more than you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so you just gotta learn who you are as you navigate this world and figure that out. And it could take you forever to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's so long as you stay focused on it, you know what I mean, you always moving in, you'll always be moving in the right path. You know what I'm saying? As long as you focused on learning who you are, being a better version of who you are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And believing in yourself, and everything else will work itself out, man. Don't be afraid to be who you are.
One thing, I was reading this article this week, and it was talking about the desegregation of Bullitt County schools in the 60s and the 70s. And it was extremely interesting, man, because the whole article was talking about power and resistance, right? And one of the concepts that stuck out to me was power and resistance, it coexist. There's never power without resistance. There's never resistance without power, right? Those aspects shift from one point to the next. One entity always has the power, and one entity always resists to that power. The one thing that causes the major difference is the person who is in the position to provide force. That's the biggest issue, right? So I look at it as no matter what we got going on in our life, if we got people who are resisting us, they're literally resisting the power in you that you may or may not understand that lives there. They may see power in you, and see, people think resistance is hating, right? And honestly, sometimes it might be.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just be honest, right? Yeah. Sometimes it might be, but sometimes when people give you resistance, it's not because it came out of nowhere. It's because your power made that resistance loud. The more powerful you get, the more resistance you shall get, because power and resistance, they are roommates for life. So a lot of people need to understand, man, if you are trying to get powerful, please expect the resistance and understand that resistance, because that power shift may happen. You may be in a position where you don't have the power, and the only thing you can do is resist. You see what I'm saying? Like, say for instance, you in that boardroom and they trying to rush you to sign that contract that's going to make you a slave for 10 years, 11 albums or something like that, right? You don't have the power that, let's say for instance, if you got somebody that needs surgery in your family, you trying to eat, you trying to survive, you trying to do something, it's either this or moving to a hotel. Yeah. Right? And so guess what? They see the power in you, but they possess the power of trying to get you to another level of financial stability, right? Yeah. But if you can resist that, you may end up being a powerful person and then force your hand. Yeah. But it takes a lot of self-confidence and self-love, which I was just talking about, and being yourself. Because if you get to a point where you look at resistance and you get intimidated by resistance and give up the power, and a lot of us don't understand what position we in. Some of us think we just resisting. No, homeboy, we got the power. Yeah.
Back to last week, 48 Laws of Power, yes. Man. Read that. Read or if you don't want to read it, because I was talking with my partner Kenley, if he didn't read it, but he went on YouTube and listened to it. You know what I'm saying? And just followed along with it. So you could do that too, man. That's how I read the first Harry Potter book in middle school. Yeah. I just followed along with the audio. You know what I'm saying? So read that, man. Right. Get that information in one way or another.
And also too, man, comprehension. I think as artists we feed off comprehending the information we get exposed to. I would highly suggest a lot of people, when you read or when you just watching stuff on YouTube, get into the habit of getting out a pen and a piece of paper. Just start the habit.
Writing things down is powerful. Yes. And Tavy D told me that. Yes. Again, bringing him back up. Tavy told me that about prayers, and I think he said his aunt used to do it or something like that. Right. Like started writing them down, so I started doing it. I went back to physically writing when it comes to writing my rhymes. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something in creating it with your hand and your hand writing and writing it. You know what I'm saying? It's power in that, man.
Correct. And asking questions.
Correct. If you believe in hieroglyphics and all that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's powerful for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So like, not just I know I mentioned 48 Laws of Power, but not just that, man. Art of War. Man, like, study that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things out there that reading is powerful, dog. Like, and gathering that information and writing those notes down, man.
I think we all, and Niko, I want you to close us out too, because I appreciate what you said today, young person. I appreciate that self-love is key, and our self-esteem as a human race. Yeah. And a lot of people get caught up in this race. I'm talking about the first race, this human race thing. Yeah. We are suffering across the board. Now, some of us may look like we on the victory lap. Some of us may look like we having a ball, like we having a good time. Yeah. Some of us look privileged, and in many cases they are. Don't get me wrong. However, don't get fooled by the commercial. Because a lot of people, after that commercial over, people got to cut it out. And they got to go home and go to their regular life. But doing that 30-second ad, they was living it up, right? Yep. And you'd be surprised how many people's lives are just 30-second ads. Yeah. So please don't get caught up in the hoopla of people just having a good time just because they got a certain car, live in a certain place. And like we said last week, man, a lot of broken homes got 2 parents and 2 cars in it. What? You see what I'm saying? Man. So be careful envying people just based off how they look. That's just a commercial. They don't even use the product they showing.
Yeah. Look at the Huxtables, right? Right. You think that's a well put together family?
They had a lot of problems.
Roseanne got the same dynamics as a family.
Yep.
But it was a totally different experience.
Exactly.
They got a bunch of people in that house, both parents in that house, but it was a totally different experience.
Totally different experience,
You
bro.
know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's powerful too.
Yeah, man. So, but ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for tuning in to Manhood Mindset, man. This has been another successful episode, man.
I appreciate you for having me, man.
Hey, thank you for reaching out, bro. Because honestly, this is just what life is, bro. I don't believe in the Most High and coincidence. One got to exist, and one of them just is a byproduct. So I believe the Most High moved, man, and something told you to reach out to me today, and we made it happen.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
man. I'm glad to
True.
be here.
Thank you for your contribution as always, bro.
No problem.
And and we just thank you for adding in them big old words, man. It made me have to Google some stuff. Like True be hitting you with some stuff, man. And I just, man, you ever know when True be talking? I'm like, man, I'm finna have to Google this.
Like I told you, I learned a lot from this man.
I said, let me hit this Google real quick so I'm gonna look like I'm stupid all the way. You know,
Y'all should hang out with Tavy D. Y'all should have been his roommate.
Bro, Tavy D is a genius. Straight. I think Tavy D is a Bible character, bro.
That is
just ain't telling nobody.
That is the smartest. That is the smartest, most ignorant man I ever met in my life, dog.
Hey, Tavy D, hey man, holla at your boy, man. I gotta see what's up with you, man.
I remember one time I said, Tavy D, what's going on over there? He said, as it came to pass. I'm like, like, did you just give us a Bible verse intro?
Shout out to Tavy, man. He in Louisiana and Baton Rouge teaching the kids.
That's
man.
tight.
Okay.
Yeah. That's tight. Shout out to him, man. So, but ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for tuning in to Manhood Mindset. I'm your host, Big Chris, out of Atlanta, Georgia, from the tribe of Ellenwood. That's my folks, man. That's the fam, man. Cedar Grove High School alumni, South DeKalb County represented all day, man. Shout out to everybody on the east side, south side, west side, north side, my side, your side, our side. You know what I mean? So thank y'all so much. Please follow me on as Manhood Mindset on Instagram. Big Chris Joker, BigChrisJoquer on Twitter, and Christopher Pugh on Facebook. Go to youtube.com, type in Manhood Mindset. I should have this episode up tonight. If not, you can go to ustream.com as well and type in Manhood Mindset and type in Niko Makaveli. That's Niko Makaveli.
Yes,
that's
sir,
correct.
Yes, sir.
And one last time, tell people how they can look up your music and purchase the music.
Go ahead and search up Niko Makaveli on Google, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon. I'm everywhere. Wherever you can plug your headphones in and listen, I'm there. So go ahead and search up the boy.
All right. True. One more time, man. How can they get at you?
True Amir, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TruUAMIR. True Hayes is on Snapchat, TruUHayze, and we'll be here every Monday, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we got a lot of good guests that's coming up. Also, too, if you are interested in being a guest on the show, email me directly at mchristopherpugh@gmail.com. That's mchristopherpugh@gmail.com. Just tell me you want to be interviewed on the show and what you plan on bringing to Manhood Mindset, man. So we'll go through the guest list. The guest list is filling up. We got maybe 4 or 5 weeks already booked. So if you're trying to get in where you fit in, email me, or you can just hit me up directly on social media as well. So, you know what I'm saying, we can get it in. But we're going to leave y'all a little bit with the art of storytelling by Outkast, man. I was raised off the Dungeon Family, so y'all gonna have to listen to that, or you gonna have to stop listening to my show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much, man. Y'all have a good week, man. Keep God first, and everything else, it'll fall into place. Peace.